Shoot your arrows! Cooper Kupp plucks it out of the air and gives the Rams the lead. Robert Woods, touchdown! LA! Dog goes crashing into the end zone. Aaron Donald almost beat the football there. Corey Littleton, have yourself a day. Picked off. Marcus Peters coming off the edge. Ryan will be wrapped up by Clay Matthews. Everett in stride! Wow!
Franklin Myers gets his hand down there.
Leno got a hand on it. Did he pick it? He did!
Racing down the sideline is Akeem Talib. Gurley for MVP! Touchdown LA!
Picked off by John Johnson.
Well, Dante Fowler, who is able to get to Breeze. Greg Zuerlein sends the Rams to the Super Bowl! LA will play for the Lombardi!
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. It's episode 208, and the draft is right around the corner, so we're going to be throwing stuff at you left and right. We have so many interviews, and we're running out of time to give them all to you guys. So here they come in kind of rapid fire, although not all in this one podcast. But we got a trifecta today. We have Virginia edge Chris Peace coming on. We have Louisville offensive lineman Lukayus McNeil, and we have Missouri linebacker Tavon Ross. Alexis Kraft has always joined me. We did those interviews together. Before we dive into that, just a reminder, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And that's pretty much it, guys. So enjoy the show. It was a lot of fun. Here comes the trifecta. All right, joining the show, we have Virginia linebacker Chris Peace. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk to you. And just to start this off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
Started playing it. I tried it out when I was a little kid. Was decent at it, probably at best. Then I kind of took a long break, and then tried again in middle school. Didn't really play much. Almost got cut, and I didn't even start off playing in high school. I think my ninth grade year I played volleyball actually instead of football, and then 10th grade my best friend convinced me to get back into it. Still had a hard go around, but eventually it came along.
Yeah, and growing up, did you have a favorite NFL football player?
Favorite NFL football player? Probably Torrey Holt, Reggie Bush, Mike Vick, those three guys.
Yeah, those guys were all fun to watch for sure.
Yeah.
And then, when it came time for you to play in college, you ended up playing at Virginia. What was the main factor for you in choosing there?
They were my only FBS offer, so I kind of just took the best school and just ran with it.
Yeah, and then, obviously your time at Virginia must have been special. I mean, what was the defining moment of your career, would you say?
Probably, honestly, it probably was my last game, that Belk Bowl. That was just the high point, the highlight of everything. Like, from not even my first 3 years, not even going to a bowl game, and then my first actual bowl game, we, kind of got ran off the table, and just to go out, shout out the SEC team like that and win the Belk Bowl at that. I think that was just the highlight of everything for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely something that you'll remember forever. And, you played against a lot of tough competition during your time at Virginia, but is there one guy who stands out to you as being the toughest player that you went up against in college?
Probably Lamar Jackson, for sure. Him. That dude, he's just electric. That's one guy. He's impossible to bring down. Can't tell you how many times I played him, like 2 or 3 times. I thought I had him, and he just made a sudden move.
Yeah, he's something else, really. I'm really excited to see his growth in the NFL for sure.
Yeah.
With that being said, you had your pro day. What was that experience like for you?
I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking. It was just more so like I was just anxious. You were training for like 3 months for that. And for me, I didn't go to the combine, so the pro day, that was my combine. So I would just say I was just anxious, after all that hard work, just to finally get it going and put it all together for that day.
Yeah, and there might not even be an answer to this next question, but is there anyone you've modeled your game after? Anyone who you've maybe tried to incorporate elements of their game into your own, or do you, or no?
Yeah, actually, Melvin Ingram a little bit. He's a shorter pass rusher, and I'm not the tallest guy around, so try to mimic things he do. And then I love watching Von Miller. His dip is insane. I try to do a little dip move like his. Not quite there yet, but I say those are like the two main guys I try to just watch as much as possible and try to reenact what they do.
Yeah, of course, and it's pretty crazy. The players that you've been able to play with, obviously, while at Virginia. I mean, Micah Kaiser, who's with the Rams, of course. I spoke with Quinn Blanding last year at the Senior Bowl. Juan Thornton. All those guys. What was it like to get to play with all of them?
Exciting. Just high level competition dudes. Them dudes are amazing guys on the field and off the field. And, for Micah, that was one guy that really helped me develop over the years. Just trying to just learning, getting, all the feedback and just info I can get from him. That guy, he was a film junkie. And, he's just one guy that really helped not only the program, but myself out over the years.
Yeah, and, what is one thing that you bring to the table that no other linebacker in this draft brings?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'll just probably say, my work ethic and I'm just go with character. I'm a team guy. I don't complain. Whatever the coaches want me to do, I do it. I could say I'm pretty versatile as well. I'm not just a pass rusher. I can come in, help stop the run, cover a tight end, go out to the flags, drop in the hooks, definitely play special teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I guess kind of following up with that, you're a man of many strengths. What would you say is your biggest strength as a player?
Definitely pass rushing for sure.
And, as the draft approaches, is there anything that you're looking to improve on?
I would say just flexibility and coverage. Those are my main things I've been trying to improve this whole year. Yeah,
and kind of a fun question we ask really any defensive player that comes on here. Who do you most want to sack in the NFL?
Who do I most want to sack? Man, I'm gonna say Tom Brady just because that's the GOAT. I know him. I don't know how many years he got left at this rate, but definitely try to get him at least one time before he goes out.
Yeah, that's a popular answer. Just to be able to say that you've sacked Tom Brady would be quite an accomplishment for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, and just to wrap it up, in your own words, who is Chris Peace as a player and who is he as a person?
Chris Peace as a player, I would say he's relentless. He's literally going to give you everything he got. So from starting kickoff of the game all the way to the last play of the game. When he walks off that field, you can see he's going to be limping around, out of breath, doesn't have anything left in the tank. Chris Peace as a person, just a real big goofball, fun to be around. Like I said, just a high character guy, man. I get along with everybody. I don't give nobody no problems.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It sounds to me like you're just a total trooper on the field, and it sounds like, you're the man off it. Really really awesome to get to add you to the Virginia guys that have come on the show, which is really just you and Quinn at this point in time. But no, for real, it's been a blast. Speaking with you. We wish you the best of luck, and let's stay in touch.
For sure. Thank you for having me again.
Of course. Thanks so much, Chris.
No problem.
All right, joining the podcast, we have Louisville offensive lineman Lukayus McNeil. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Everything's going great. So just out here, just working out and training and things right now. So everything's going wonderful right now.
That's awesome. And, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And just to kick it off, we want to ask you, how did you get into the game of football?
Well, I just did. I started off when I was young, just doing it because I had siblings doing it also. So I just ended up doing it that way, and then ended up taking a little break and then started back up. And basically, I just did it because I had siblings doing it at the same time. My parents put me into it. So, and I ended up liking
that's
it.
awesome, man. And kind of as you were growing up, I mean. Was there an NFL player that you admired or, favorite player?
Not really. Growing up, I didn't really watch football too much. I was playing it so much. It was not my interest. I'd go play it, go to practice and have a game and things like that, and then go home and watch it also. So it was just so much football going on. So when I was growing up, I didn't watch too much football, so I didn't have favorite players or anything like that. I just watched whatever my parents had on or whoever was around me had on. It was just like that. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't have too many, not a favorite player.
Yeah, that's understandable.
My favorite overall is probably Marshawn Lynch. Is probably one of my top players.
Yeah, he certainly is a fun one to watch and very talented. That's for sure. Something I want to touch on, and you can correct me if I have the story a little bit wrong, but when you were in high school, your mother moved out of your school district, but you wanted to stay at your school so you could continue playing football. So you essentially kind of bounced around from house to house and were basically homeless. I mean, what was that experience like?
Like that, it's not like just like what you said. It's not. No one wants to be in that type of situation, but me being able to play sports and still get looked at as from different schools and people helped me out in my surroundings. So it wasn't too bad. I had a lot of people helped me out. I mean, it was still difficult. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, I had people helping me out and things like that. So it didn't turn out too bad, as you can see.
Yeah, no, that's kind of one of those things. I can imagine when teams are looking at you, they'll be like, "Wow, this guy just has like a certain love for the game that you just can't coach, you can't teach, you can't force on anybody." But with that being said, I want to know, what made you choose Louisville as the place to play your football?
So growing up, I had a tough situation. A lot of people know now. But it was always me and my little brother, always together, no matter what. There's another reason. That's another reason I didn't end up leaving here out of the district or out of the state, out of Indianapolis, is because I had a little brother here. And it's the same reason I didn't want to go too far from him again, is because I had my little brother here in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I didn't want to go too far. So I ended up going right down the road and ended up liking it. Loving it, actually.
That's awesome. And I think that's really cool that you wanted to stay close to your brother. And, obviously Louisville is a great school. It's a great place to play football. And, I'm sure you had a lot of great moments there during your career. Do you have a favorite moment of your college career?
My favorite moment of my college career is probably my junior year, winning over Florida State by a lot, just blowing them out. So that's probably one of my favorite moments ever. It was like a dream. Always been a dream playing in a big school. Period. Growing up, and then I get to play against a big school like that, a big program. A lot of great players come from that school. Did come from that school, and like I said, they had a great program, and we ended up blowing them out my junior year, and it was one of my top moments of my life.
Yeah, and Lukayus, I have to ask you because, your teammate who's now in the NFL, Lamar Jackson, he was my number one quarterback last year in the draft. I think he's unbelievable, and I think he's going to have an amazing career. But I just want to get your thoughts on what it was like to not only just from the perspective of playing football and having to, protect him, somebody that's constantly moving his legs and, probably made your job a little difficult at times, but just, the overall experience, playing with somebody like that and his leadership that he brought to the table.
Man, it's everyone knows, a player like that is just hard to come by. He is a wonderful player. It was kind of difficult. It was at times blocking for him because you never know where he's going to be at, what he was going to do next. But you just know it was going to work out. But like I said, like everybody knows, my back is always turned towards him. So I couldn't see him, what he was going to do back there or predict where his head was. So it made it a little bit difficult. But at the same time, it was always fun being able to run after him and protect him and even being around him as a person. He was always a good person in the locker room and outside of football. He was always a good person, always all the way around. He still is to this day.
That's awesome. And he's very, very talented, as you touched on, but you also went up against a lot of tough players as well in college. Is there any one guy who stands out to you as being the toughest player you went up against?
Not as I can think of. Like you said, it's been a lot. I went against a lot of good players, wonderful players. It's actually going to be in the draft this year. It was in the draft past years, but I can definitely say went against I can say Trayvon Young, the DN that we had. I hated going against practice against him every day, but he was a really good player. He still is. So that's probably one of the top players I went against every day and played against, and he's a wonderful player and not really spoken out, but he shows everything on the field, and he's a great player. That's probably why he's still playing today.
Yeah, no, Trayvon is somebody we're really excited to have, being Rams fans, just having him on that roster and, watching him make an impact. And didn't get a ton of opportunities last year just because, the team's just so built from the ground up. But definitely, I'm glad you mentioned him for sure. What I want to bring up, your pro day, what was that experience like and how well would you say you did?
I can say my pro day was a lot of fun. I actually did really well. I stood out, did some things that I wanted to do, but there's always room for improvement. Everyone knows that. I think I can improve a few things, but as time goes on, there's something I've been working on and make sure I get faster, stronger, and just getting better all the way around. So I did have a wonderful pro day. It stood out, and I think a lot of coaches end up liking me and speaking to me afterwards. So it worked out really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, what would you consider your biggest strength as a player to be?
My biggest strength as a player all the way around, I think all the way around is my personality. I know when I need to turn it on and turn it off. I know when things are upside down, not looking right. I know what kind of person I should be. And when things like other way around, when things are just uplifted and everyone's having a good time, I know the type of person I should be again. So I think it's all the way around as a player, an athlete. I think my personality is definitely one of my good traits.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to ask you kind of a fun question here. Who do you most want to stonewall in the NFL?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. Going into the NFL, who do you most want to stonewall?
Not really. Not really sure. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I really don't know how to answer that one.
I would assume maybe not Aaron Donald.
I don't. They're all good players. Everybody in the NFL is a good player. That's why they're there. But me personally, I would like to go against the best of the best, no matter what. I mean, it's a great opportunity just for me to get better and also going to get some guys that's been doing it for a while and to show me the ropes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to go against the best of the best.
And, we are a Rams kind of based podcast, so we ask every prospect that comes on our show, have you met with the Los Angeles Rams or have you talked to them at all?
I have spoken with them. Haven't really worked out for them yet or anything like that, but I have spoke to them, so it's been good talk, just good talk, nothing negative, so that's a positive. But I have spoken with them.
Well, we love
That's
to hear
awesome.
that. And
you spoke with them at your pro day?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, just, to wrap it up, we just kind of want to hear in your own words, who is Lukayus McNeil, the player, and who is he as a person?
Lukayus McNeil. I would describe myself as a hard worker, somebody that just loves the game, that really takes things serious, that I go after, things that I really want. I can say I work hard for. I have worked hard for the things that I have now. And I'm a type of person that would not let down on anything, especially if I'm going after it. So that's one thing I can say about myself is I am really strong. I'm a really strong person. I can take a lot before I get broken down. It's kind of hard to break me down after a lot of things I've been through. So I can say I'm really, but on the other side, outside of football, I'm really fun person, outgoing, love to talk, love to meet new people. And that's just me.
That's awesome, man. We're certainly glad to be able to kind of meet you. Obviously not in person, but just get to know you a little bit. We appreciate you taking the time because again, we know you're busy, and stay healthy. Good luck, and let's keep in touch.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lukayus.
No problem at all.
All right, joining the show, we have Missouri linebacker Tavon Ross. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
It's going good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I talked to you a little bit off air about how I'm so excited to finally get a Mizzou guy on the show. I've been having to, deal with all of Jake's Kansas guys on here, who I love. But it is nice to have a Mizzou guy finally come on since I'm a big Mizzou fan. But, just to start it off, I'm just kind of curious, how did you get into the game of football?
I don't know. I guess just one day I picked it up and fell in love with it. It wasn't really like a certain thing that like sparked it or anything. I mean, I just enjoyed playing it with my friends and everything. So that eventually like created the love for it.
Yeah, and like growing up, did you have a specific player that you could call your favorite?
I would say Troy Polamalu, played for the Steelers.
That's a good one. He's definitely a lot of fun to watch. That's for sure. And then, you play, growing up, you're playing football, and it comes time for you to play in college. What was it that made you commit to Mizzou?
They treat me like family here from like day one. I mean, from my recruiting visits and everything, they were just like, they treated me like I was part of the family already, and I wasn't even here yet. So I think that made me feel like I was at home. So I made it my home.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Obviously, just seeing where everyone kind of comes from. You remember what teams recruited you, and then, of course, you remember what team was finally the one that, you decided to go to, and just kind of how that comes to be. It's always very interesting to us, and we love starting off kind of like intro-wise. But, kind of moving on, was there a favorite moment or maybe a play or even a game that stands out while you were at Mizzou?
That's hard to narrow down because, we had a bunch of games that just stood out. But I would say one that just stood out the most would be I would say the Arkansas game in this past season, 2018. That one, just having your rival come into your house and everything, and then just knowing how hard we worked this past year to try to get back on track and everything, made it like special.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched that game. It was a good game for sure. And, you played against a lot of tough competition during your time at Mizzou, a lot of really talented guys. Is there anyone in your mind who stands out to you as being the toughest guy you went up against in college?
Like the last question, it's a lot. Just playing on Saturdays, it's tough opponents everywhere. Let's see. I would say it would definitely be either Nick Chubb or Sonny Michel from University of Georgia. Just having to guard them and stuff. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, those are definitely good picks. You're talking about two of the top young running backs in the next crop of that position in the NFL. But, want to ask you, how was your pro day? Because we know you had your pro day. It's coming down to the wire, until the NFL draft. But how do you think that experience was, and how do you think you did?
I think I did. I think I did pretty good. Just being an athlete, you always say, hey, I could have done better. But, I think just being in that moment and having to do what I had to do, I feel like I did the best I could.
Yeah, and, there might not even be an answer to this next question, but is there any one person or maybe a couple guys who you've modeled your game after?
And what aspect?
Or maybe just guys who you looked up to, and tried to incorporate elements of their game into your own, like other linebackers. Maybe you grew up watching the NFL or things like that.
The first few questions you said, who was my favorite player or whatever. I would say Troy Polamalu, because he was a hard hitter, and I try to be aggressive, just trying to tackle and stuff, and let's see, mainly him. Yeah, I just kind of idle my game around him, being on the defensive side. So.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not a bad guy to model yourself after, who ends up being your favorite NFL player. Like you said, answered the second question. But, just to kind of, bring up a question we like to ask, you are a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. You play linebacker, you can play safety, you can play nickel. But, as a linebacker, we'll say, what do you bring to the table that no one else in this draft brings?
I would say I try to bring toughness. Just knowing that, everybody's, fast, strong and everything, but, not everybody brings toughness sometimes. And I try to make sure, like, any day I'm out there, I try to bring toughness and just to get positive attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that what you would consider your biggest strength as a player to be, or is there something else that stands out to you as being your biggest strength?
I would say that's my biggest strength.
Yeah, and, kind of looking at the NFL, of course, things that you did in college, you may, not just you personally, but just in general, you may be able to get away with something in college where the NFL you'll get kind of, exposed with. Is there anything in your game where you're kind of, just trying to tune up as you enter the next level?
I would say technique.
Yeah.
In college, like, you can get by with, like, kind of okay technique as long as, like, you're fast enough to, like, catch up or something. But, like, at the next level, I mean, everything has to be, like, fundamentally sound. So I would say that would be it.
Yeah, of course. And this next question is just kind of a fun one that we have. But is there any, if you had to pick one quarterback, who would you most want to sack in the NFL?
I would say Cam Newton.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one there. So being a Rams-based podcast, I have to ask you, have you met with the Los Angeles Rams yet or spoke with them?
I have not.
Well, we found that a lot of times the Rams don't always speak to guys they're interested in, which is kind of weird. But Jake and I have kind of noticed that. And being big fans of you, we'd love for you to end up a Los Angeles Ram. But even if you don't, we're going to be fans of you no matter where you go, because we really do love watching you play and really think you're going to have a successful career in the NFL. So, to wrap it up, we're curious, in your own words, who is Tavon Ross as a player and who is he as a person?
As a person, I would say kind-hearted and just humble. I mean, I think that would sum it up as a person. And as a player, I would definitely say, like, strong-minded and hardworking.
Hey, I mean, that's a really great answer, man. We really appreciate you coming on the show. We'll be rooting for you no matter what team you go to, and stay healthy. Good luck, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you, guys.